Ah, all right. We're back at it today, and done some cool stuff since yesterday. I'll just wait for a couple people to join the stream, but today, I think I might just try to push through and get to the launch. There's a chance we might be at a point where I can release a demo very soon. I've cut back on what I think I will do to qualify for like launch ready. At least not launch, but like that flight demo. I want people to fly this plane. I want people to give feedback. Well, you know, how does it feel? And I think I would like to get audio. It's kind of a need. And maybe some form of like audio. I'll add rolling back. I removed rolling again. I also removed all the stalling logic from yesterday. It was way too buggy. I tried it on a different machine and it all stopped working. So we're gonna have to actually properly implement like forces. But yeah, so for today, we might try to set up OpenAL. What else could we do? I don't want to work on those particles. I got some of the particles working. Hey, what's up? Let's see. I think for today, we're going to set up OpenAL. It shouldn't be hard. I think it comes... I'm here again. Good to see you, man. I thought I recognized your username. So we'll set up Open Audio Library. When you collide with the ground, I might just move your plane back into the sky. Ground collision. I got it. I keep forgetting to do that. Let's see. Ground collision state reset. And then once we have the... Oh. Finally, add rolling again. I think that... What are you building now? Same thing as before. Same thing as before. But since yesterday, I've completed the particles for the exhaust. And I've added some terrain, like fog. So, you know, the terrain fades off into the distance, making this feel much bigger. But you can see behind here, there's a smoke plume. So we have some basic particles in the engine now. But yeah, these are very basic. But again, they only need to be very basic. They're supposed to like barely be noticeable. Because, you know, unless you're an afterburner, you're not gonna notice anything like that. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So I think today we'll be implementing basic OpenAL and terrain collision reset. Let's see, because I don't want to be able to do this when I release the demo. Like if people hit the ground and this is what happens, like that doesn't work too well. So hit the ground, we're gonna reset your position. Maybe what we could do, could the terrain handle its own collisions? Yeah, it probably could. Maybe that's the first thing we do. We'll get the terrain collision system working first, because that feels like it would be much more entertaining, frankly. Okay, so we'll want the terrain to handle its own collisions, and we'll do it on update. So we will have to implement this. Terrain update. And then, well, let's see. STD, what was it? A shared pointer entity in scene. Well, we could get like a get entities by type method in here. I feel like that's probably a better idea. By name, by ID. Let's see, STD shared PTR entity. And we'll probably need a template, honestly. applet. What is it? Type name t, and it will return shared pointer. It will return a list of shared point. Thanks. Yeah, dude. Let's see. Get entities by type. And you'll pass in what? We want to pass in a class type. So, yeah, actually, that's all we need. That'll let us pass in the type name. So then we'll iterate through all the entities like we usually do. Only now we'll have a vector. So std vector std shared std shared pointer t entities, and then we will return entities, and then for here we will just check if we can typecast. So if std shared cast, I think it is. Let's see, shared cast. There's a cast method that I was using earlier. Let's see, shared. Let's see, cast. Static pointer cast. Yes. It would be here. Let's see, static pointer cast t entity. There's a way we can check if this fails. What was it? Static pointer cast on fail. What happens? I don't want it to like throw in here. Why can't you use AI? Have any reason? I do have a reason. I don't think you learn if you use AI. And I do use, listen, I do use, I don't want to paint a picture that I don't use AI for anything. I do. If I ever have a bug that's going to take me probably, if I foresee it taking days, I will ask the AI like, hey dude, like what could be possible issues here? And then I'll go and like, I'll use it as like a debugging tool. But even then I feel dirty about it because it feels like, I know there was a time in my life when I went through those multi-day bugs. There was a time in my life when something would stump me for weeks sometimes, and I would finally figure it out. And though it was painful and really, really slow, like there was a lot of value in the struggle. So, and beyond that, vibe coding, like you don't actually, it's bad if you want to actually understand your code base. And it's also just, if you want to learn, using AI doesn't get you there. And I want to learn. I have no interest in just building something that I don't understand. If that was my goal, yes, I've had projects where my only goal is to get an MVP out the door as fast as possible, and that's when I use AI, because it's not about understanding, it's just about getting the product out and making sure it works. But I never vibe code. I just use AI more than I am now. I hate vibe coding. Why is static cast pointer? Let's see. How do we check? Let's see. Yeah, this would crash. Dynamic pointer returns null pointer if invalid. So it's dynamic, what was it? Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Dynamic cast, that's what it was. So dynamic cast will throw an error. What is it? Dynamic cast, and if it's null pointer, let's see. So entities dot push back. Actually, we should std shared pointer t. Yeah, sure. Ask a question, dude. That's why I'm here. Let's see. Cast. If cast. So if it's not null pointer, we'll do that. Pushback cast, and then that might work. Although we might be using the dynamic cast. Let's see. Unqualified ID. There's maybe, I think it's a shared pointer dynamic. Let's see. Shared pointer dynamic cast C++. What was it? Yeah. What was it? Derived dynamic pointer cast. Where was it? Dynamic pointer cast. That should let us cast the entity to a type. Entities. Ah, result. We want that. Results.pushback. No, don't return entities. Bad. That's not what we want. Results. Bro, how much progress? How much have progress in the game? I just joined the stream. We are. So a good amount of progress has been made. I'll show you. But once we get this to build, let's see. What's the terrain? Undefined reference to terrain.update. Yeah, because we haven't implemented it yet. So in what? Scene manager. We need to import that. No, we already have that. Scene manager, current scene. Dot. Oh, it's a pointer, right? Yeah. Get entities by type, and we want specifically aircraft. So for any aircrafts in the scene, this we'll check. And then for now, we're just gonna, let's see. Wait. It needs to be a list, right? What am I doing wrong here? Aircraft was not declared in this current scope. Let's see. The main purpose of making a game from scratch without any game engine is to program tools, or just because you want to. I want to. It also perform. My reason is I want to because I want to learn more. I enjoy doing this more than I enjoy using an engine. I think engines get boring because you have to focus on the art more than the programming. I don't like making art. I don't like making art. And I like programming, so this is much more fun for me. I also think it teaches me a lot more about like systems engineering and having to optimize. You can make really, really performant games if you're writing it all from scratch. You have complete control. Aircraft.hpp. Build. All right, and then actually I'd just like to quickly debug log the name. Cout entity dot name. And this should be FAXX, I believe is the name I gave this jet. Yep, it gets access to the plane. There's some lag spikes going on, but they seem to go away when I scope. That's interesting. Scoping smooths the game out a lot, but this is where we're at so far. It actually is starting to kind of come together, I'd say. Optimizing games in 2026, you're crazy. Yeah, I guess I am. Okay, why is it that scoping makes this totally smooth, but not scoping? Let's see, GLFW, no, what was it? GLFW, mouse, button 2, okay. Camera zoom distance, camera distance. How's your computer say? It's going well. It's going well. Let's see. So this is good. We have that. And we just want to say, we need to get our terrain height. Now, how do we get the terrain height? We have access to, there's a height map texture we have. And we aren't actually storing the data in this texture, which we should probably do. Const char pointer data. And then that'll be, ooh, this means every time you load a texture, it's going to be stored on the CPU as well. And we're never going to free it. Which I guess we can get away with just the terrain height map. Probably fair. Let's just, you know, we'll use it for now. It's a load texture method at the bottom. What was it? Yeah, this data, we free it at the end. We need to free this data. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. If we want to free this data immediately, I don't want to have to manually do this. We could just copy this. I don't want to mem copy either. Okay, we'll make a delete texture method. Graphics backend. We need to make a delete texture method. Yeah, that's something else that has to happen. Let's see where's our delete everything else. OpenGL. That's the API I'm using. OpenGL ES to be specific, and for embedded systems. Delete shader. Yeah, we want static void delete texture. Texture. Ooh. GL delete textures. One texture.id. And is it a reference? Yeah, it's a pointer. Okay. And that should let us delete our... We also would... Let's do it. STBI image free texture.data. We will be storing... What? Is it not defined or? Loader.cpp. We won't free the data, and we'll say texture.data equals data. Although this is constant. So we'll want to only create this. Well, it will be. All right, we'll remove the const part. Let's see. Texture.data. AngularJS is JavaScript, dude. So that's like a totally different language. It's also for web development, like website development. This is not web development. I'm just compiling this for the browser. This is low level. This is more systems and graphics development than anything else. There's no web development happening here. Like if you like what I'm doing, this is not web development. If you like web development, you probably won't like what I'm doing. We only have one texture in use, so in the unload resources here. Oh, we're also not deleting any of those method. What up, dude? What up, Zerg? Oh, so I've fixed so many bugs since yesterday. Delete, what was it? Graphics, backend. Delete, mesh. Graphic backend, delete, shader. Switched from C to Java 4 months ago. Gaming is not my thing. Gaming's not my thing either. Systems development, like systems engineering. There's some Java in systems, like system engineering. From what I understand, and again, I'm not a professional. So full disclaimer there. Java does exist for like some systems engineering and some embedded engineering, but C++ is better for that. So if you really want, if systems engineering is your goal, I think your best bet would not be to switch to Java. I think you should stick with C and C++. If anything, the more embedded like learn C, you know, maybe that would be something more like a better use of your time than Java. I mean, again, if there might be some options with that, but I would suggest that you instead stick with C++. Yeah. No, I just heard that. Oh, you just heard that term. I was wondering what it meant. Okay, yeah. AngularJS it's like React in Vue. It's just it's really old. It's a web UI framework. Hello again. What's up, dude? Okay. What is up? Let's see. Where on earth? Okay, so graphics backend is working now. We still have what? Unsigned sharp. Ah, that's the issue. Unsigned sharp pointer. And we don't have the STBI image include yet. But this was something we needed. People have been pushing Rust too. Yeah. That I completely forgot to mention that. Yeah, Rust is a great option there. If you want to be ahead of the curve, I don't want to say ahead of the curve because like who knows where the industry's going. But if I had to bet on one thing, like if someone said, you know, you need to learn one thing to be ahead of the curve, I would learn Rust. And I'm trying to learn Rust. Not right now. But that's on my bucket list of things to learn are Rust and Vulkan, and entirely it is my plan to entirely switch over to Vulkan, WebGPU, more modern stuff. Web dev and making a game in OpenGL. I'm just compiling it, dude. I've also done web dev. What is going on? What is this here? What is the error? Unexpected what? Terrain update. Maybe that's some bug. We're getting more stuff. Yeah, I'm just compiling my stuff for web. So You can write C++ code and low level stuff and compile it for the web with WebAssembly. That's literally what I'm doing right now. But yeah, it's unusual, that's for sure. Most people would not be doing that. Loader.cpp6. Why is that happening? Did I change something? Put it. Yeah, I'm not in a. Oh. You're right. No. I'm so sorry. I forgot where I was. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for catching that. Yellow Mexicanos. What did I fix? I'll answer what I fixed. I'll run this. So, firstly, the camera jitter is fixed. Like the camera would be kind of jittery for some reason when I, like last time I played this. I don't know why. The camera would kind of lag behind the plane if I sped up more. That's fixed. I figured out what it was. I was updating it. I was updating things out of order. I implemented fog, so you can see in the distance the terrain now fades off, which makes it look a lot, bigger. What else did I fix? Oh, the particles now work. You can see there's a plume behind it. Pretty cool, right? I don't know. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, so we have some particles now. We have a full-on engine plume. Sun works. This is starting to look really good. I'm actually really content with how this is starting to turn out. And so my goal for today is to finish audio implementation, which I only have one sound, which is the engine, and I just need to dynamically change the pitch based on your throttle. Once I have that, and once I add rolling back, and we're doing some terrain height stuff. So what was it? We want to get access to the terrain height at a certain position. So let's see. GLM, we want to get access to where the plane is. Entity. Do we store the position in the entity? No, we don't. What OS do you use? I use Windows, but I've used Linux. I have Linux experience. Let's see. GLM vec3 position equals aircraft dot transform dot position. Okay, so we want to get access to the Did you finish the part? I did. Well, yeah, I did. You can see back here you got the particles. I tried to get the particles to work for the air pressure going over the body of the plane, and I quickly realized it would be better to actually model some sort of smoke, have an actual mesh, and then just use a shader. That would be much more performant. So that's going to take a lot longer to implement. So that's probably not going to be in this first demo. Let's see. So we get the plane's position, and we want, and this is the world position of the plane. We want to convert that into texture coordinates. So how are we calculating the global position of the vertices in this? Let's see. So these are the vertices in global position. So we want to basically undo that. Actually, would that be as simple as dividing the plane position by, let's see, so 0, 0 on the texture is in the far bottom of this map. So when the plane's at position 0, 0, that's really 50-50 on the terrain. So if all we did was say position, let's see, well, it would be vec3 texture position is what we want, and that could just be divided by terrain size. I feel like that's what we could do. Let's see, terrain size times terrain resolution. Wait a minute, why are we multiplying this by terrain resolution as well? That's not needed. So our terrain size is actually much, yeah. Position minus equals, we just need terrain size. So this will make our terrain much smaller, actually. But that means that should make up for the difference. And then I'll have to undo this temporarily. What did that break? transform dot no. Is it private? It could be private. That's what it could be. Aircraft. Let's see. Aircraft exhaust particle system. What was it? It was. I think. No, that's public. Aircraft. Oh, I'm stupid. It's a pointer. It's a shared pointer. I'm sorry about that. All right. Aircraft particle. Okay. Aircraft transform. One day the autocomplete will work, and this will be much easier. And this is terrain size that we, well, GLM vec3. Well, wait. Why don't we just make this a vec2, honestly? And then we can dot x z that, and then divide by terrain size. That should give us the same size. Yeah, it doesn't have an xz thing, does it? Well, that's okay. GLM vec2 dot x aircraft aircraft transform dot z, and then this should give us position dot z. All right, and that's gonna give us something. Wait, why is? Oh, it's just a constant. Yeah, GLM vec2 terrain size. I thought we were storing add slipstream. I know that's what I'm. That's one of the items on the list, but I don't think I'm gonna do that through particles. Is my point. Okay, so the size of the terrain is the same, but we just corrected how things are calculated. That's good. And then I'm gonna debug log this because we'll actually get some ideas as to where we are. And since there's only one aircraft, like, this is fine. Okay. This looks to be mostly correct. Of course, you know, if we'll go the opposite direction, we can go to negative numbers. So all we have to do is offset this. By what? Terrain, let's see. Texture position minus equals. Well, we're at 0, 0. Yeah, plus equals GLM vec2 terrain size divided by 2.0. And then that should give us accurate coordinates. We can't just do. Oh, maybe it was because GLM likes floats. Yeah, that should work. So now we should be at 0.5 if I'm logging this correct, or at least around 0.5. What? Hold on. Oh. I'm sorry about that. This would be plus point GLM vec2 0.5. I think that would be right? I want to say that'd be correct. And now, yeah, so this would be like, we'd be at like 0.5 here. And then if we go in the opposite direction, that seems more correct. I don't want to have to fly to the other end of the map, but that will tell us if we're doing things correctly. And we only need the X position. Let's see. So is this the fastest X decrease? We'll know if this works for sure if when we reach the edge of the map, that says 0, 0. And my guess is that's correct. So we might have actually just gotten the terrain UVs correctly, which would be great. Which means we are set up to be able to just sample the texture at the correct coordinate. Now I'm gonna have to remember how the data is stored, the character array data. Like, because in GL, we're gonna have to manually sample a texture with UVs in C++. I've never done that before, actually. Let's see. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, so we should honestly call this UV. I did add the fade effect. Yeah, it's pretty good so far. I'm really happy with it. We don't need that. The next thing we need is float height. And this will be what? There might actually be some sort of texture. Let's see. There might be some sample method already in, like, let's see, how to sample STBI image texture in C++. Because, you know, On the GPU, it's just, let's see. I want to know exactly what the sample method is. Yeah, I get that. Create a GPU texture. I don't want to sample it on the GPU. On the CPU. I want to sample it on the CPU. How would I do that? Draw textures. Da, 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 da. Load from file. No. What? There's a method for this. Yeah, I know. You load the image. Get the color of the pixel at X, Y. So this is based on... Oh, okay. So it's just a two-dimensional array. Pixel index. And it's just storing it. I see how this is stored. Okay. So if we want to get the correct pixel coordinate, pixel coord equals what was it? uv dot y, I believe it was. Yeah, uv dot y times what was the width? We need the texture. Yeah, height map dot width, which I'm using z, plus uv dot x, and yeah, times 4 because we have 4 bytes per. Wait a minute, but this texture isn't stored. It would be num channels. So the texture height map dot channels, because this texture, the height map texture we have here, does not have 4 channels. And then what will we do? Yeah, we'd get data pixel index for R. And I think there's only one channel here, so it would just be data, and it would be an int. This would be an int pixel index equals equals data pixel index, and that should actually just be it. And we'll debug log this. This should just be in 0 to 1. Type std and L. And what? I think this is red, green, and blue are between 0 and 225. So if we divide this by 225, that should just give us from 0 to 1. How do you feel the need of using chat? Do you feel the need of using ChatGPT? I'd like to, you know, but every time I do, I feel like I'm just a worse. I feel like I'm not doing what I need. Like, even here's the thing, like, I'm Googling, but you know, this is an AI overview. It kind of feels like cheating, even though this is documentation. I'm not copy and pasting any code. Like, there was a time when I just go to Stack Overflow, which, by the way, Stack Overflow, if any of y'all didn't know, just reached its lowest number of users since its creation, which is actually really, really sad. And I think that's going to have long-term repercussions on software developer understanding of concepts. Let's see. 2.44. Come on. This should get closer and closer to 1 as we go along. Oh. Wait a minute. Why is it? I think this should be like 1.0. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This isn't a 225 float. This is there's a specific way in which this is stored. No way. Terrain loader.cpp. What? If this is R8, this is an 8-bit float. What was the max? Does it really just go to 225? Yeah, 0 to 225. Times that should be correct. Unless the image is flipped, that's another possibility. Where is 0, 0 on this image? That's a good question, actually. We need to know that. Our coordinates could very well be flipped. We'll know if there's something off. So this is getting lower and lower. 0 should still be 0. Here's a thought. What if we just gave it an entirely white texture? Yeah, thanks, dude. I have made a little bit of progress on this stuff. Let's just generate a, what was it? I think the 512 by 512 white texture. And I just want a plain. That's not what I want. I need a 512 by 512 white image. Do we just do this in Canva? I can't believe I'm going to use Canva to do this, but it's the fastest way that I can think of right now. We just want a custom size, 512 pixels. And then we're just going to export this. We're going to share, download, PNG. Your design is empty. Yeah, it's supposed to be empty, dude. What? White background? Maybe we just put some like invisible text. What if we actually did have text? Let's see what this looks like. I'm really curious. 500. Well, we'll do 25 and we'll make it bold, and that'll be that. Yeah. But I am going to have to cut to commercial in a moment because I have to quickly run downstairs and do something mildly important. So yeah, actually, no, I don't have a Discord server, but we will. I'll get back to that once I get back. All right. So let's see. How do I send y'all to commercial temporarily? Insert ad. All right. Here we go. I think this should be an ad. All right. I don't know. Let me make sure this is on an ad. I don't think I'm on an ad, am I? All right, I'll be back in like 2 seconds, okay? This is just gonna... It'll be super fast. All right. Hope I didn't just lose 100% of my viewership. That would be unfortunate, but worth it. All right. Wow, we're at 18 views. Okay. Let's just make sure we aren't at any sort of... All right. I'm back. And we need this photo. And we're going to rename it. Let's see. Properties. Test. We're just going to call it test. And we're going to put it in textures, and then we'll just say our terrain should use test.png. And I think this will also kind of test how well the texture loading works. Okay, that looks like it's... that looks correct. Oh, you can see we're at 1.13. But that works. You can see that we're actually loading the text. I wonder if we could see this from all the way up. If we like went all the way up, can we actually see what it says? Because that is the text that I put in. If we up the resolution, I'm sure we could. But yeah, okay. So the one thing we know is that this sampling is wrong though, because our max is 1.13, meaning that can't actually be our height. So that means we know that, now it's looking at text here. Let's see. So we know that that means our, let's see, Monero miner. I have no idea how to make a crypto miner. I'll be honest. Compiling it for WebAssembly, that part's not, I mean, I can probably help a little with that part. Like, it's, I mean, WebAssembly, in my CMake project. How did I create this project, actually? That's a good question. Okay, there's basically, I believe there's a way in CMake that you can say, you know, compile this to WebAssembly. Yeah. Yeah, I remember it's here. So it's in this build commands. CMake configure web. Yeah. So basically you install Emscripten, which is a build system, I believe. Sorry, not a build system. Emscripten. It's basically it lets you compile things for the web. And it'll give you this command, emcmake, which is pretty much just CMake, but it configures it for the web. And then it basically just gives you a bunch of commands that compile things specifically for the web. The same way, like I would say CMake, I would just say emcmake, and it'll take care of the rest. Other than that, it's a pretty standard C++ project, but it gives you this like some conditional compilation options like this. But yeah, that's the general gist. Voice very low. Oh, this microphone is on a swivel. Every now and then I bump it and it floats away from me. Is that better, or is that like too insanely loud? I can always change stuff. Height channels. This should be 1 in our texture. I don't think this is correct, so we need to know what exactly. Let's just honestly see out pixel data, because this will tell us what our max height is, what our maximum red value is. Let's see, what's our max red value? We know we're not sampling it at the correct coordinates. Uh-oh. Why? Why is nothing being printed except a new line? Yikes. Let's see. No worries. Data. Unsigned character. Oh! We aren't casting this to an int at all, are we? It's an unsigned int. Let's see. Thanks for the how to code video. Yeah, I'll try to make more videos. I'll be honest. The videos, I don't necessarily enjoy making YouTube videos, but I think they're important. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We're casting it to the right type, which means we should be getting the right float value. So let's see. std cout height std indel. And now we just need to make sure our coordinates aren't flipped, which is entirely possible. Yet it's still... Oh, is it 255 maybe? That could have been it. We could have just been... We could have been... I could have just misread something. Yeah, 255. There we go. Okay. 255. That's correct. So now I think it's a question of... let's also get our height map back so our terrain is correct. Let's see. Okay, so our terrain's correct now. We need this sampling to be correct. I think our image may be flipped. And the only way we can check that for sure is by... Have you completed reading Lord of the Rings? I am on the final book. I'm on the last book, Return of the King, and it's excellent. I'm a huge fan. I think maybe that's what we flip. We'll figure this out. I'm not concerned. Yeah, I agree. I think investing time in a project is more cool. But remember, the whole reason I'm making these YouTube videos is because right now it's not enough to just be a developer. You also have to have a personal brand. And my goal, in many ways, is to build credibility and get noticed. Honestly, because I just want to get a job. I want to be able to do this for a living. If I'm being completely frank. Let's see. This terrain should be the maximum height. So we know that when we get to the top of that terrain, there's only 4 possible combinations we have to test here, I believe. Otherwise, our something is completely wrong with our actual height calculations. Let's see. Why the lemon? Good question. If you ever run into 5th grade me and why he decided to name his YouTube channel The Lemon, ask him. Because he knows more than I do. I mean, I don't know why I called it that, but it stuck. It worked. I think it's fine. I like the channel name. I think it's got a nice ring to it. But I now use it for like other stuff, like gaming usernames. I think is the only other thing I've ever used it for. But I feel like we're sampling this wrong. We're getting farther up. There's got to be a way we can test this. There has to be a way that we can test being at the correct coordinate. I'm just trying to think about this. Let's see, how is our texture stored? Because this is the height map. We are about here. This is the maximum peak, which means we honestly could probably just load this into like Photopea. And I'd just like to sample this. What's up, dude? Start using Photopea. I need to actually see if we have the dev webdog fight resources, textures, height map. Okay, this height map. We need to like I like never use photo editors. Sample the image there. That is about, yeah, that's 255, 255, 250. So that is a perfect maximum white color. So if we reach the top of that, it should just be 1 when we're actually at the correct position. But if we're sampling this, actually, we can get an idea as to our orientation. So this is downwards because we're spawning in at 0, 0. Where are we facing? So this is facing in the negative Z. All right. And the center, let's see. So this is 0, 0. This is 0.5, 0.5. And when we go down here, we should be moving in the negative Z. So we need to make sure that our UV that Y, this, when we reach the top of the peak, if this value is greater than 0.5, we know that we're backwards on the Z. If not, we know that we're, well, if it's less than 0.5, we know that our Y coordinates are correct. Oh, look at that. It's increasing, which means, let's try this. Let's see. That should give us a lesser number. Yeah, that looks about right. And then our X coordinate, we can also test. So this should be positive X. So flying perpendicular to where flying in this direction roughly should yield a positive X. And it is. So this should be the correct coordinates. So now we should be able to sample the height here. Let's see. Oh yeah, sometimes the plane just doesn't load in. I don't know why that happens. I don't see any errors. How can C++ run game? C++ games can run on the web using a tool called Emscripten, which is what I'm using right now. It basically lets you compile your C++ code into a format called WebAssembly or WASM, and yeah, if you can compile it to that, you can load your code into an yeah, exactly, Google Emscripten. That's exactly what it is. Although it's interesting, I feel like maybe the issue isn't that we're sampling the wrong place. It could just be that we're casting this to an int. 255. There has to be some like floating point. Let's see, unsigned int. Maybe something is like being cast at the wrong time. Let's see. We'll do that. Unsigned int pixel color. Pixel pixel value. And then we should just do pixel value divided by that number. And floating point division should yield the correct result. Although it doesn't feel like it is. I feel like there's something very wrong with this. Yeah, there's a lot of languages that can be compiled with WebAssembly. Although, we can also just test if our pixel value is 255 when we're at the top of this mountain. That can also tell us a lot. Yeah, pixel value is 54. Sorry, 53, 52, 53. Come on. It is not climbing very fast. Oh yeah, what about this? Sorry, thank you for reminding me. There will probably be a Discord for this game if I can get into a consistent development cycle with college. My hesitation with starting like a Discord or something is frankly, I don't want to disappoint people with suddenly like college happens and I fall off the side of the planet, you know? I don't want that to happen. So maybe our sampling is what's wrong here. Height map.width. Pixel index uv.y times height map.width. This should yield an int. Let's first do this. And then let's cast it to an int. Okay, and then we'll add uv.x. But the problem is uv.x is... Now that I'm thinking about it, uv.x... Okay, here's an idea. I think it's how we're sampling this. So uv.x is this. Width is how many? So this could work right here. This is fine. This should give us how many rows of pixels we've gone through. Wait a minute. Would that? I'm just trying to think about this logically, because if we're at 0.5, that'll say we've gone through. I don't think that's correct. Yeah, this assumes that UV is a set of indices, which means okay. Let's see. GLM IVEC2 texture pixel UV equals, and then this would work here. So GLM vec2 x times width uv.y times height map.height. And then what this should give us actually a number of rows that we've gone through. I want to say this will work. I don't want to jinx anything. This could break things. I mean, we're like setting ourselves up for a buffer overflow somewhere. But that that log looks much more accurate right now. Are we getting to a more correct height value? Not quite. But I think our logic is much more sound here. Because think about it this way. We have a 512 by 512 texture. This is an int. This is a float. I want to say this could yield a float result. We want to make sure this is an int. Let's floor it. GLM, we could just floor that, whatever that is, to the nearest integer value. And we'll floor this as well. And then this should show us how many pixels we've gone there. I feel like we're getting somewhere on this. PC specs. PC specs, they're good. They're good. Sorry, I don't mean to cop out on that, but I mean, they're good. I just got an upgrade, and I don't want to leak all my specs on a live stream, to be honest. But yeah, I'm very, 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 very blessed. Floor that width, maybe. Let's see. Right now, I'm just trying to sample the height map, and I'm trying to convert world coordinates into texture coordinates, and then sample the height map so I can see if we've hit the terrain or not. This is the only collision I really need to have in the game. And if we can get this right, we should be good to go on that front. That's on the X. You know what? Could it be that we make a Discord server with your name? So I don't want to have to manage a whole like Discord thing personally. And I know there's people who would do that for me, but I don't know. I've moved. I don't really use Discord a whole lot. Let's see. So we're getting the right pixel coordinates, I want to say. We'll know for sure. So this is our Y coordinate. And this is at 185 about. So let's see where 185 is on this texture. Can we tell? We probably can't. I bet you Photopea doesn't let us do that. Okay. It's just playing around with values right now, man. It's kind of frustrating. Pixel texture pixel dot Y. We're on the right position. This is correct. This is the correct order of operations, obviously. And channels, that's correct. Unsigned int pixel value std cout pixel value std endl. All right, come on. Does it get greater if we go the other direction? Is that what's flipped, maybe? No, this definitely gets lesser. Although this should be much lower, I would think. Because that, oh no, that's still actually pretty high up in regards to like where the actual minimum value is. Let's see. Let's just keep saying what our pixel value is. This should be much lower to the ground. We should see a really steep drop off here. If we don't, yeah, it's going up. So we are legitimately we're sampling something wrong. It could be the X, could be the Z. I don't think it's the Z. But I think our sampling logic is correct. Let's see. Come on, increase. Steep increase. No. Definitely not the correct sample here. Gosh darn it. I just wish I could like visualize where... Wait a minute. I can visualize the terrain UVs. PUV. Vec3 PUV 0.0. And then this should hypothetically show me where the terrain UVs are. Perfect. So where's 0, 0? That's 0, 0. It's in the top. That changes things. Okay. So 0, 0 is up here. So this should be, this is increasing, this is increasing. Okay. So maybe our scale is what's wrong. Because this should be negative. Right, 0, 0. We need to offset this. No, we don't. If we're at 0, 0, we're actually at 0.5. So I think we're just scaling this wrong. I think we need to plus terrain size divided by 2.0. And then if we're doing that, our location here should be 0.5. Here we can divide it by terrain size. This could just be doing the exact same thing in a different order of operations, but I just want to think this through a little bit. This is very frustrating. We're getting higher up. Gosh darn it. Why is it that right about here things start to just freak out? Maybe it's the channels. Maybe it's the number of channels. std cout uv.x .y. They're trying right now. They're just displaying the pixel value between of, let's see, game of the year. No, not even close. I wish. We'll get there one day. It's decreasing. It should be increasing. Yes, I plan on adding combat. Very much. I plan on adding combat. Missile, heat seekers, radar guided missiles, and yeah, heat seeking missiles, radar guided missiles, and guns. But the first thing will probably be guns, if I had to guess. Yeah, I'm trying to convert world space positions of this plane into texture coordinates so I can get the height of the terrain where we're at, and I can see if we've collided with it. That's really all I'm trying to do. Change the airplane model. The model is going to be fully textured soon. Oh, this looks promising. We're climbing. 255 is the max value we need to reach. Yeah, we did it. We're sampling stuff correctly. We did it. Okay, so now all we have to do, so our height should be this fraction, and in our shader we define what our max terrain height is. Height constant. So we need to define that in here as well. They are separate, but that's okay. Hashtag define height constant. And what was it? This is our height constant in there. So that's our height constant here. And then it will be that times height constant, which means we can then, if height, if aircraft transform dot position dot y is less than or equal to height std cout crash. And this should tell us when we hit the terrain that we've crashed. And we should only see this when we're at or below the terrain, which means this could work. All right, so let's hit the ground. And if that starts logging, yep, crash. We did it. And we also need to get rid of this. Okay, perfect. And then instead of that, all we're gonna do is say aircraft dot position dot y plus equals we'll move it back up to, well, yeah, we'll just move it back up. And that should, in theory, oh my gosh, I should have transform.position.y. Yep. All right. We're making serious progress here, and we didn't add a semicolon. And now if we hit the ground, we should just get moved back up to the sky. So the big thing that people were talking about yesterday was, you know, have some sort of collision. We have collision. Hit the ground, get moved back up into the sky. That'll do. That will do. Look at that. Hit the ground. Boom. Yep. That's pretty cool. Okay, we have that. We have that now. So let's start working. Let's see. Terrain collision. Commit. In the future, we'll have it just call like a method on the plane that makes it explode. But that works. That works. Okay. Next thing we need to do. We need to get OpenAL working. So let's see. Open. I've never done this before. So this is, let's see, OpenAL GitHub. We also need to get like the other stuff for C++, not soft, OpenAL C++. Native bindings for OpenAL playback. Is there an easier way to play sounds in WebAssembly? We don't really need a lot. Let's see. Maybe we don't have to go through OpenAL. Let's see. What sound logic? What sound libraries does Wasm come with for C++? Because I know there's some built-in stuff. WebAssembly stuff doesn't come in. Blah, 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 blah. You compile existing audio libraries, port audio, STL mixer, Wasm using tools like Emscripten, blah, 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 blah. Okay, which one should we use then? Web audio API. No. STL mixer. For sound effects and music playback. STL mixer might be good. STL mixer. Maybe that'll be a good library to use. An audio mixer that supports... Let's see. It provides decoding from many popular audio file formats. Preloaded, streamed on the fly. Multiple audio devices. Can even mix a memory buffer instead of feeding audio hardware. Oh. I think. Let's see if there's any good documentation for this. My fear is that there's no good documentation. Let's see. C++ audio game. Where can I get the models? I made them all. None of these are public. And the terrain is procedural. Well, height map based. C++ game audio library that can compile with Wasm. Let's see. Mini audio. Simple single file C library for auto playback capture. It's easy to integrate and compile with Emscripten. Cheer LLVM based. What is mini audio? You should use mini audio. It's a single header library. Okay. Mini audio. What is this? What is its usage? And I play sound. Is that actually it? What about adjusting the pitch? Because I'd like to change the pitch of stuff. By the way, I've literally never worked with sound before in a game. Ever. This is my first time ever touching anything with it. So it's kind of dangerous to do that on stream. If I'm being completely honest. I don't think we want that, because that just looks like it only gives us access to playing sound files. There's more to it. Like, the throttle goes down, the engine should be more quiet. So, you know, before we do that, we'll just implement our roll again. Roll value. I want our roll to work. Applied force fallback multiplier. What is it? Extra roll. Extra rotation equals angle axis. Roll angle plus roll. Let's see. Roll input. There's documentation. That's an advantage. Float roll input equals 0.0. And then roll input. If input manager is key pressed, GLW key Q, roll input minus equals 1.0. We'll just roll a degree. If input manager is key pressed, GLW key E, that should work. And then roll input plus equals, actually, wait a minute. We have a setting for this. Settings. I think there's there's an aircraft setting for this. Yeah, roll rate. That's way too is it too low? We'll just do it 1.0 for now. And let's see. Roll rate times time dot delta time. This is gonna probably be way too slow, but that's okay. As long as it works. And then else roll input equals 0. That should work. And then, yeah, let's see. Build that. Run. Let's roll. Okay, rolling. So that's not ideal. It should. What are we working on? We finished the terrain collision. It works now. Right now we're getting aircraft rolling working. And then what else? Roll input else math utils lerp float. I'm going to smoothly go to 0. Roll input 0.0 f time delta time times 10.0. And then that should smoothly rotate us back. So rolling is now officially implemented for the final time. Yep. Maybe not, because that shouldn't spin all the way back. But, well, that's all we have to do is modulo operator equals roll input modulo, or can we just do it like that? I think there is. Yeah, we can. And it was 360. Because this is in degrees, right? Is the angle in degrees? If it's not, I'll just have to divide it by a different we can't do that? There's no modulo operate. Oh, fmod. I forgot. Fmod. Yeah. Roll input. I don't want to cast anything. We'll do that. And this should, if we're using the right numbers, work. Although now that I'm thinking about it, that might break things only a little bit. Spin. Okay, so that means it's probably something different. It's probably 2 pi, so 2 times 3.141592. That's all the numbers of pi I know. And these are backwards, by the way. You wouldn't know that because you don't see my keyboard. How do you make the models? Can you give me a website? I use Blender. I'll show you the Blender file in a second. Yep, we can roll now. And can we, do we undo all of the rolling? We don't. We don't. Although, I think this should probably just be maybe pi. Because that way it won't, it'll, this should work. Okay, let's see. Roll. Look at that. That wasn't perfect. That's okay. I guess we'll have to stick with that for now. But that's okay. Our roll rate works. We didn't recompile. That's why that's happening. But yeah, that's pretty solid, I would say. It's pretty great. We can, there's always room for improvement, but for the most part, this is a pretty solid implementation, I'd say. So now we have rolling again. Now that we have those two things out of the way, let's see, rolling, finally, push. All right, so we have rolling implemented. The next thing we probably should work on is, we need to find a good audio library that lets me, okay. Let's use Gemini for Google searching. Google Gemini. I am making a Wasm OpenGL ES browser and desktop game. I need a simple audio library with C++, well, simple C++ audio library that allows me to dynamically shift the pitch of sounds and also play them easily. All right, give me some options here. This is a good use of AI. I'm not dumbing anything down. So Loud, recommended for ease of use. Engine Light audio library. Why it fits. High level API. Okay. Shifts the pitch by 50%. Mini audio recommended for portability. Play sound, set pitch. Oh, we can do that in mini audio. Okay, I'm sold. Whoever suggested mini audio, you win. Let's get it going. CD vendor. What was it? Was it mini audio? Mini audio there. We need that. I need to turn off my heater. It's freaking hot in this room. Okay, well that's cloning. I'm gonna turn the heat off. It's freezing outside, and yet my heater is making me extremely uncomfortable in here. Okay. Wow, that seems like a pretty big clone. Is there a CMake? There's a CMake, so it shouldn't be. Yeah, you do win. You very much win on that. Let's see. Let's see. Add subdirectory. Then. So hit scan or projectiles. I've been thinking about it. For missiles, it'll obviously be projectiles. Like that's pretty straightforward. Guns, I'm trying to think how to do this performantly, because if you know anything about fighter aviation, they spew rounds. So how am I gonna you can download, it's a single header library. That's a good point. Good point. Probably a good idea to do it that way. I don't know why it's not letting me delete all of the files. Miniaudio.h. All right. But yeah, so bullets, hit scan. I'm very much thinking, because here's the thing. Planes shoot a ton of ammo. Like they're rapid fire, obviously, but like it's a lot. So, but the thing is, they also really have to take into account, you know, leading their shots because of how fast everything's moving. So if I did hit scan, how am I going to account for leading shots if your bullets literally travel instantly? It works for first-person shooter games because, like, you're not moving fast enough to dodge a bullet, but in fighter aviation, you are moving that fast. So hit scan would have to use some sort of curved raycast. It would probably be it's possible, but then how do you visualize that? Like, do you have a line do you just have a bullet that like follows a set path? And if it hits the plane and the bullet hasn't actually hit the plane visually, like what then? So it's doable to do hit scan, technically. So then the other option is, okay, we do projectiles, you know, like we can just shoot a ton of bullets. But here's the problem. Performance, this is running in the browser. So how do we do this? If I was doing this on desktop, I could use a compute shader. I could use a compute shader and I can do all of the bullet calculations in a compute shader and then offload it all to the GPU, and it's entirely feasible. It's not feasible to do that in the browser because there isn't any compute shader support. So that's a real thing I'm gonna have to think about. I don't have the solution for that yet, but I will. /mini audio /mini audio.h, and then vendor /mini audio. Okay, this should work. And then export models. Okay, so here's the thing. You have to write your own importer. So it's not as simple as like, you know, just export them to a web page. Like, let me show you. Here's my import process. Solution will be soon on WebGPU. Yeah, soon. I mean, WebGPU will be great. Solution will be soon on WebGPU. Yeah, they have compute shaders on WebGPU. Yeah, I could totally. WebGPU lets you write Vulkan-like code. I mean, obviously it's not as performant, but it gives you like a ton of the most modern graphics features in the browser. You really could feasibly make an entire game engine running in the browser with WebGPU. I chose OpenGLES because I wanted the challenge. I want to have to think about this. How am I going to do this? So, and also, like, I'd like to work. I don't want to make video games for a living necessarily. I love doing it. I think it's a lot of fun, but I don't find it very fulfilling, to be honest. So, like, I would like to work in defense. I would like to work on maybe embedded systems. I'd like to work on simulation. Like, my dream company is Anduril Industries, but like, you're working on constrained hardware. So embedded system development, like, it's important to think about how can I optimize this for really, really constrained hardware. Partially why I want to make this in the browser. It's a good way to learn that stuff. But for whoever asked about importing, this is the model. This is the model I made. It's rigged in Blender and everything. And if I want to export it, you know, I export it as this file format, GLTF. It's just a modern 3D file format. And then I would export it. I'd press export, and it would spit out this file. Here's the thing. That alone does nothing. So now I have this file in here, demojet.gltf. So I had to write a part of the engine that reads this file and converts all of that data into something my engine can understand. So there's not like, you can't just export a file to the browser. You export a file and then you write code that can read the file and convert it into like my engine format. In my engine, I need to convert that file into a mesh struct. So like I have in types, you know, a mesh, it contain, well, I want to do a skeletal mesh. So a skeletal mesh, it just contains a skeleton and it's the same as a normal mesh. It has a material, it has a bunch of vertices that I have to convert the web page, the file into that format. So it depends on your engine. You'll have to write that yourself if you're going to make your own engine. If you're not going to make your own engine, there are browser-based game engines out there. I don't know if any of them are fully web GPU integrated yet. They probably will be very soon. But yeah, where was I? Let's get a jet engine sound effect. Royalty-free jet engine sound effect. I need a like constant sound. That looks pretty constant. I can't hear any sound, by the way. That's loud. We'll take it. And then we'll open it in Audacity because I need to cut off that beginning part. Let's see. File, import, audio. This piece, desktop. Downloads, jet engine. Okay. We'll crop out all of this. File. Export audio. Export to computer. We'll call it engine dot, what was it? MP3, I thought it was. What file format am I exporting as? You can't see my Audacity page, I know. .wav. So engine .wav, and we'll put that in. Let's see. We'll put that in dev webdogfight resources, new folder, sound audio, and we'll put engine.wave in here. Okay, that should work. We should now have a jet engine sound we can use. Did I not export it? Is it? It's not actually exported. I didn't actually press export. That is frustrating. Engine.wave. Okay. There's that. We'll go with this PC here. Dev. Webdogfight. Resources. Audio. Engine.wave. Save. Export. There we go. We have our audio file binary. We'll save that before closing. Save to computer. Save. Whatever. All right. So we have our audio file. That's awesome. Let's see. We'll build that. Okay. What else do we need? So now we need a way to play files. Aircraft. This should be pretty easy, actually, with the mini audio, because if that's really all it is, so we can get the mini audio documentation. Audio. Single file. Documentation. Introduction. Let's see. What's the minimum we need to do to set this thing up? What the GitHub page had a really simple demonstration of it. And we really don't need advanced features. Okay, let's include mini audio. Oh, that's a massive include. Include mini audio.h. Let's first pray that this compiles. If only C had a package manager. Or C++ rather. Okay, it builds. Let's make sure it builds for the web too. I haven't run the web build in a minute, actually. We probably should run the web build and make sure we haven't implemented something that only works on desktop. That's something you have to think about. I don't like thinking about it, but I have to. By the way, can y'all hear the music? I'm kind of like suspicious that it's just going to cut out, because it did on one of these streams and I didn't find out. I actually can't hear the music. It's not playing on my end, so I can just see the audio output in my OBS settings. Let's see. Build the web. Okay. And it should be done now. Okay. Let's just make sure this all works on the web. Yeah, it works. Let's make sure the collision works. We don't get any like freaky weird errors. Nope, it works on the web. That's pretty good. It work on web. And then let's see. We probably need. This should not be managed within the see, within that. We should probably manage it just like in the main. There should be an audio manager, honestly. We should abstract this. Should we abstract this? Do we want to directly call? No, we should abstract this. We're gonna abstract this. IO gameplay sound backend.hpp. And we're gonna abstract this because if I ever want to change the API, I need that ability. Class audio backend. Public, and then here. We'll go here. Are you at? I don't have sound effects yet, but we have them. We're gonna have them soon. Static void play sound, and it const std string reference audio file. For now, it'll just play the raw file, and then I should also have like a static void play sound loop const std string audio file. And we're going to need to initialize all this stuff on the back end. We're going to have this, let's see, static ma results. Do we need a result per se? Yeah, we do need an ma result. Result. Let's see, audio result, and then static. These need to be inline. Inline static ma engine and audio engine, and then we need an initialize method. Initialize, and then on the other side, hashtag include backend.hpp void audio backend initialize, and then what? We can literally just take that. We don't even need anything there. And then we also do need a shutdown. It looks like static void audio engine shut down. Void audio backend shutdown, and we'll just do that. And this will be audio engine, boom, audio result. We aren't returning anything, so it should be just std run throw runtime. There should be a runtime error. What was the header for that? IO stream. What was it? IO stream. I think it is that. Throw. Where are we doing runtime errors? Time error. STD runtime error. Yeah. Throw STD runtime error. And then where is there an include at the top that we need? Probably in the header, honestly. Is there a... We can include whatever we need later. Boom. Throw STD runtime error. Failed to initialize audio backend. And then that should work. Let's see. String is not defined. We need to include string. String, I forgot about that. And then we also, that looks like it actually just works there. No. MA engine uninit, undefined reference. What are you talking about? Is anything engine init? Oh, all of these are undefined. There's got to be some sort of like implementation header of some sort. Yeah, we need that. Maybe is there something else we need? I think we're building this thing. Yeah, no, finish with non-zero. None of this stuff is defined. Is there some sort of definition? Hashtag define mini audio. Let's look at what mini audio entails. Hashtag if def. C++. Yeah, that's just telling us it would see MA student, MA true, MA force. Gosh darn it. Why would this be happening? I don't think we have to... Yeah, we don't have to do that. MA engine init. It should exist. Why would it not be working? Did we reconfigure everything? Yes. Okay. Many audio functions not defined. What? Usually a linker. Yeah, I know it's. Yeah, so there is something like that. Okay. I was suspicious of that. Hashtag define many audio implementation. That's what I thought it was. Let's see. Still failed. Yeah, it's a single header library. I'm aware of that. Maybe it's in the header that we need it. No, we aren't going to have to do that. I know this is... Oh. There we go. Boom. This should work. Yeah, it's taking longer. That's good. Ooh, that's good news. I got an important email. I might have just gotten an opportunity. Okay. Desktop build successfully. That works. So then we need to define this play sound stuff. Let's see. 30 minutes, please. All right, let's see. Void audio backend play sound. Why is there play sound A? Did I add an A on this side? No, I didn't. I don't know what's going on there. Let's see. Okay, that's good to know. MA engine play sound audio engine file path. Let's see. Resource path. That's what we refer to things as in my engine. By the way, I need to name this engine. Everyone should, if you're making a project, you know, you should name your engine. If you're building an engine from scratch, I take great pride in that. Let's see. No, we don't need that. And then how did what? There's a loop method. Yeah, there's a play engine set engine sound. So, play sound. Let's see, static void play sound with hit. Well, we should just have a pitch factor. We'll have an optional parameter. Float pitch, the lemon engine. You know, I actually have an engine I am gonna probably try to build. A friend of mine who's right now, one of my best friends actually, he's overseas right now, but he and I have had a project we wanted to build since high school. He does not have the technical expertise to do it, at least not yet. But my dream is that we do it with our own tech stack. So I plan on trying to build a Rust game engine, a full game engine. Minimal features, but I have a name for it already, and it's going to be Citrus Engine because the lemon. Maybe Citron, but something like that. Yeah, it's going to be a Rust engine, and the backend is going to be WebGPU. I'm calling it here. I want that cross-platform stuff. And then what was the... Oh, Gemini, I don't want to reveal every Gemini tab I've ever... Let's see. Audio library. What was it? What was the command? Set pitch. That's what it was. Will it be open source? Why use Rust over CPP? So use Rust over CPP because WebGPU is just much better using Rust. It's much easier to work with desktop WebGPU with Rust. And also, will it be open source? Yes, it will probably be open source. Yeah, there's no reason for it not to be. It will be open source. And why Rust over CPP? Yeah, that's the main reason. And also, I want to learn Rust. I think it's important. For my goals, learning Rust seems like it's going to be needed. Let's see, pitch, right? Sound group, MA sound set pitch. Is there a, whoa, sound set pitch? That's a different command. Let's see. Mini audio documentation. Mini audio. API examples. Custom back. I don't want a custom backend. I want to search engine pitch. MA sound set pitch. P sound. Where is this MA sound set pitch? Set Doppler. Wow, there's some pretty cool. Whoever suggested this, good job, because this is a pretty awesome setup. MA sound set pan, set pitch. I sounds per stereo pan pitching. Okay, mini audio set pitch. What's the command? Yeah, I don't need that. Let's see, documentation. Changing the pitch does actually change the playback speed. That's okay. I only need the, I can have the playback speed go faster because I'm just gonna be looping this audio forever. Oh, what was it? Gemini, does that actually even exist? Like that function? Let's see. Engine set pitch. Yeah, I doubt that's actually a thing. MA engine set pitch. Yeah, no, it's not. But I bet you the time is, because if we make it faster, you know, that should, let's see, global, it's an int. I feel like that may not be the way to do things. So for now, we're just going to do the play sound. And we'll do it on the beginning, okay? Let's see. Aircraft initialize. Let's see. Audio engine backend play. We haven't even imported that. We haven't even initialized it yet. So we'll include audio backend. Hashtag include sound backend. This should be audio. I don't like the word sound. That doesn't sound. That doesn't. Audio backend. All right. And then when are we initializing everything else? This will come after everything. This will be graphics backend, audio backend initialize, and then at the very end, audio and backend shut down. That should be all we need actually. And then it failed. Why did it fail? Sound. Play sound. Oh, it's a pointer. My bad. Play sound, pitch factor. Oh, yeah. Whoops. Optional parameters are in the header file. And we got some sort of undefined reference, MA engine uninit. Didn't this compile last time? MA engine init, MA engine play sound, MA engine on uninit. Didn't you work at one point? Mini audio.h. This should work. Maybe we define it up here. Build. That seems like that might have done something, because that's taking a while to build now. It's taking too long to build. Okay, we're gonna rebuild that whenever finished successfully. Okay. And we're gonna play sound. We haven't played the sound for the aircraft yet. Play, let's see. We need to include audio. Hashtag include audio backend.hpp, and we'll manage it all through here. Play sound resource path. Resources slash audio slash engine.wave. And if this works, that will have been a very easy setup for audio. Uh-oh. Please tell me it didn't. Oh no. I think I know what may have just happened. Windows Defender yesterday, actually. Oh, wait. Play sound. There's something wrong here. There's probably a linker error, if I had to guess. Oh no. This looks really bad, actually. We remove that, and we remove this. Does that fix it? If that does fix it, that's not good. We don't want that to be what fixes it. Maybe, hear me out, could be hashtag undef mini audio implementation. I always misspell implementation. That worked. Did we play the audio? No. Audio and backend play sound resources / audio / engine.wave. Please work. Please, 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 please build. Build. It built. It didn't build. Why didn't it build? Maybe we have maybe the sound, maybe something's wrong. Maybe the optional parameters isn't working for some reason, which would be really weird if that's the case. That worked. No, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? What is going on? Audio backend seems to be completely flipping out. We don't need this pitch factor, actually. We don't have that method implemented yet, so there's no reason to pretend it's implemented. We don't need that. Okay. Let's put, is linear algebra used to optimize the game? I don't know if that's exact. Well, you don't like use linear algebra to linear algebra is just a branch of math. You can use technically any branch of math to optimize. It's whatever works. So no, I mean, specifically, there's been no linear algebra topics that I've used to. The biggest optimization I've made was caching bone transforms using hashing. Like I have a hash map. And in C++, it's called an unordered map, I believe. Let's see. Why is it that using that method, is it not public? Did I do that again? So we just can't actually use that method. That's really weird. Audio backend, is it not public? Static void. Any programming movie recommendations? Love Pirates of Silicon Valley, Mr. Robot series. Ooh. Movie recommendations? This is gonna sound like the most copy and paste take, but have you seen The Social Network? Maybe, by chance? Because that is probably one of my all-time favorite programming movies. I love The Social Network. I don't know why. Audio backend. Static void play sound. Const resource path. What? The Social Network. Yeah. Yeah, this guy's got a good take right there. Is it maybe load resources is being called? That would not make sense. What is going on? Okay, here's a thought. Maybe it's because it's constant or something. If I was to bet, I think I've had this error before now that I think about it. Steve Jobs, it's a good option. I personally am a huge fan of like sci-fi movies, so like Interstellar. I love Christopher Nolan. Let's see. An uninitialized argument. Const string. Wait a minute. In my graphics backend, how am I handling these? Const std string shader source. Yeah, we can do that. We absolutely can do that. This should be constant. This should be constant. So something here is wrong with that. Let's see. Const string variable. Variable.c string. We should be able to do that. I'm not totally sure why this isn't working. Taking a little bit to build. Yeah. Something to do with the string allocator. Undefined reference to audio backend play sound. Pragma once. What are we doing wrong here? Maybe something there. There's something weird going on with the header files. If I had to bet on anything. Let's see. So that causes this. So we have to define that there. Unless we can't use that in the header file. The other guy already pointed out. Undefined reference. Mini audio implementation. Could it be that we're doing this at the top? Could it be that we don't need that? Really hope this works. Yeah. Undefined reference to play sound. Are you a student or working? I'm a student. I'm a sophomore. Yeah, sadly, I am a student. Why on earth do I need to maybe do something like this? This is defined. Is it not? Something here is wrong with this. Let's try this. Let's just try this. I know this may not be the best method to do things, but sometimes header file includes just get already defined here. Are you kidding me? Are you joking? Is this some sort of sick joke? I think it is. Maybe it's something here with this. I'm just trying to think about what could be causing this. We can't include that there. We are undefining mini audio implementation, but that doesn't change anything because for some wait a minute. Is there an if def up here somewhere? Are we only including audio backend if we're like no? Not directly. Not used directly. It is used directly. Why is it saying it's not? Audio backend, play sound. Undefined reference to audio backend, play sound. Aircraft.cpp. Why? Why isn't this working? It worked in the main file. What? We include audio/backend right there, and we can call methods to it. That works great. In fact, we can even test that works by saying std cout audio backend initialized successfully. std no. All right, and then we'll remove this line because for some reason that really just doesn't want to work. That's fine. That's okay. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work. Takes forever to build, but we did add a pretty big header file. Let's see. And does it say audio file initialized? Audio backend initialized successfully. Like right there, it says it works. So it's this line here. Play sound. Audio engine.wave. I have reached. Okay. Maybe it's taking this as something different. When we're creating a shader. Wait a minute. I think I'm starting to see what's going on. Create shader takes in this. So if we were to say std string path equals this, it's just maybe reading this as the wrong type of parameter. And then we just pass in path. Would this work? No. .c string. Okay. It's mildly annoying. But we're just going to have to temporarily go in here we're just going to copy the string into here. I know this isn't best practice, but at this point, you know, a little frustrated. We also don't even need to modify that string, so passing strings around probably isn't the way to do things. Come on. No, it still doesn't want to. Source path. Okay, we'll take that, put this there. Backend const char pointer. And then in here, that's a string literal right there, so it shouldn't cause any problems. It's a static method. What are we missing? What are we missing? It's got to be something painfully obvious. Undefined reference to audio backend play sound. So it's nothing to do with this. This should work. Static void play sound. Is it because we're doing this in the aircraft file? Maybe there's something there. Maybe this works great here. What is going on? Yeah, there's something in the aircraft. No declaration matches. Play sound A. Wait a minute. Why is there a play sound A thing in here? There's no play sound A. Play audio. Let's rename it. Let's try that. Okay. And then if we go to main, play audio. We're going to reconfigure everything. We're going to control B. Let's see. Play audio. No declaration. Oh, we changed something in here. Const, yeah. That should work. Although that place audio A, that was interesting. There's some text that is like the A character is being added to my function definition. I feel like this might actually work now. That works. A little loud. A little loud. But that works. I'm happy about that. And now, technically, we'll do that. Audio should be playing now. Way too loud. Way too loud. Audio backend. We should add a few more parameters. Now that that works, we can float audio noise factor. Float pitch factor. Yeah, I know that's very loud. Float noise. Sorry, loudness factor is what it should be called. Float pitch factor. We'll change that name. These are optional parameters. MA engine set. What? Now I'm getting 0. Oh gosh darn it. Mini audio set volume. What? MA sound set volume. So it looks like MA engine set volume. Okay. We could also use the engine. MA engine set volume. And is it a float? I can't see the documentation. Yeah, that is a float. So and audio engine loudness factor. And then when we play this, we'll set it to like half. And then we need to see if this works in the browser. We'll build that alongside. We can do that because they're both building to 2 different directories, so we can build everything at once, which is kind of nice. I'm not sure how CPU intensive it is, honestly, but it's much quieter. Still not quiet enough. Let's see. Yeah, that's still building. Emscripten takes a minute to build. That's something I've... Boom. Still feels a little loud. Yeah. Well, it's also my microphone's very sensitive, so I'll do it one more time. I'll make it even quieter. We'll build for both web and desktop, and then I'd like to see this work on the web, because the web is a little finicky sometimes compared to desktop building. Okay, desktop and web both worked. Let's see. It works on the web. And it stops, so we need to loop this. We also should probably like have sounds, like like some sort of sound wrapper, because I noticed. Yeah, we should have the concept of a sound in here. So we'll have a we'll struct sound, and what was it? MA sound value. Right? Does this build? Okay, and then we should have the options to just play sounds instead of anything else. So static void play. We'll have a load sound method. That'll be the first thing. This should be sandwiched here. Static void load sound. String resource path, and then static void play sound, and this should also just be a sound. Const sound, and then here sound audio backend play load sound string resource path, and then we'll have a void audio backend play sound const sound reference sound. Let's see. Okay. The pitch is high. The pitch needs to be higher, honestly. A jet engine doesn't sound like a rocket. This audio file is primarily for testing. I will probably have to make my own. It's a little bit looped. Well, we'll just have a play sound for now. I need to figure out how this handles sounds, by the way. Engine, filtering, rainbow audio. Ooh, this actually has a lot of stuff. Introduction, bindings. How are you going to do this with multiplayer? I mean, you're not using sound. So here's the way multiplayer sound is going to work. Firstly, this is no spatial audio. Like, there's nothing here that's spatial audio. This is just playing directly from the screen, which works for your plane because I'll be honest, you're not really going to notice about like the differences in a sound that's like right in front of your camera. So in the beginning, it probably will just be your plane is the only thing that makes that engine noise. When you launch missiles, you'll hear like a and then like the missile will fly away. You really don't hear missiles when you're in a jet. But, you know, realistically, there's going to need to be some form of spatial audio because when you're in 16, I mean, you'll hear the plane maybe. Although, again, like realistically, have you ever played War Thunder? You don't hear the other aircraft really until you crash. Like when you crash and your camera's just sitting still, that's when you can hear everyone else. But you can't hear everyone else based on your audio. So we can get away with a lot of non-spatial audio and non-networked at all. So the answer is probably no real networking. Let's see. How do we load sounds in MA audio, in mini audio? What? Audio buffer audio? I don't need that. MA play sound. MA sound init from file. Yeah, that's what I was hoping. So sound result equals sound. Return result, and then everything in between will be a sound result dot value equals what? Yeah, MA sound init from file, and it just takes in what? An engine, and everything else doesn't really matter. So, and audio engine, resource path 0, no. What about if a missile gets close to you? Realistically, you just get hit by the thing. You don't really hear it coming. You have to remember, when you're moving near the speed of sound, things behave differently. If the missile's behind you and you're flying at the speed of sound, you literally won't hear the missile behind you. If it's flying at you, you'll hear it long before. So I don't think you're gonna be as conscious of the audio when you're flying a jet. If it is a problem, then I'll go and fix it. Hey dude, what's up? Once again. If it is a problem, I can add spatial audio, but I really have a feeling that if I just made this all client side with 0 spatial audio, nobody would care. And then what was it? And result dot value. Okay. Init from file. And then there's a check. If result is not equal, if result dot it returns a result. Yeah, wait a minute. What type is that result? I bet it's an int, if I had to guess. Int load result equals that, and then I'll just say if result is not equal to MA success. Do you prefer mechanical keyboard? Absolutely. I actually don't really like laptop keyboards. I feel like they're too thin, especially the Apple ones. I can't stand Mac keyboards. And MA sound throw std runtime error, failed to load sound asset from file, resource path window. Oh, wait a minute. That won't work. Yeah, that won't work. Mechanical keyboard, brown switches is the way to go for me. Not too loud, not too silent. Man, you sound like you know way more about that than I do. I'll be honest. I just go with like the bare minimum. If I like how it sounds, I'll take it. This is interesting. We won't have, and for now we're just gonna leave it like that. Everything else should compile. Oh yeah, .c string. Gosh darn it, these build times are getting longer and longer, dude. Finish successfully. All right, and then play sound. I think there was just, it was literally MA sound set volume. Engine play sound. And there was a way, MA sound start. That's what it was. MA sound start. Sound.value. Sound.value. And I think it was a reference to it, yeah. And then we need a looping option. We can do this. Bool looping equals false by default. And then we'll just bool looping. MA sound. Let's see. Set volume. Yeah, MA sound set looping. And it was sound.value. And we'll just say looping. Oh, wait. Looping MA true. MA false, because it has its own version. MA sound set volume. And this was the exact same as the previous one, if I remember correctly. Sound.value. And then audio backend. And this should be volume. I don't know why I called it something special. Shouldn't be special. Looping, and then float volume equals 1.0. This is probably going to come beforehand. Well, no, this is not actually probably gonna, you're probably going to loop things more than you're going to edit their volume. And then what? We change the volume there, and then volume. And if I'm correct, wait a minute. What's the method? From constant. Invalid conversion. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's just not gonna be a constant sound, which I guess makes sense. You know, you'll set its volume. I wonder if you can set its volume and then play it off, like, not offline, but like you can set it and then play it. I wonder if that's something you can do. That might be an interesting refactor we could do with the audio system. Let's see. Oh, we haven't even implemented those changes. We'll have a section for audio, and we'll have a sound, well, audio engine backend. We don't need a sound. We included audio engine sound. This should be unknown type. Oh, we're not including the audio backend in here. Audio backend. And then we don't need to include it in here now. Probably don't need to include any of these in here. Probably redundant. Might as well remove the unneeded headers. Make sure they compile. It was probably not a good idea to remove a bunch of headers when my C++ thing isn't working correctly. But it worked out. Engine sound in load resources. Yes, we will say engine sound equals audio backend load sound, and then we'll load in this, and then we'll just play that sound at initialize. Engine sound. Let's see. Audio backend play sound. Engine sound. True and 0.1x. Let's see. Will this start looping it? And then, like, oh, it failed. Undefined reference to, oh no. Oh no. Let's play sound asset. I remember something happens whenever we have the word sound, it appends the letter A to it for some strange reason. I don't know why, but like, I bet this will work. I bet it just, because I named it that function, play sound. Which I'm lucky I debugged that so quickly, because that one could have stumped me for a while. Yeah, that worked. You can't say play sound. It crashed. Why did it crash? It was when we did play sound, I'm willing to bet. Load sound. That should log a success, actually. We should say std cout loaded sound file from, and then resource path. Well, resource path std indel. And this will tell us if it's in the play or in the load method. I'm betting it's in the play method. There was a pause. Loaded, yeah, we loaded it. And it should be attempting to, and we should do it up here. That's just because everything else does that. But it's that. So play start sound. Is there an end sound? set looping, set volume. Could it be this stuff? Maybe it fundamentally just needs to be this. And is there like a delete sound? I don't need any of their low-level API. High level's good enough for me right now. I don't understand low-level audio programming. Okay, so that's the method right there. This is where things break. How interesting. How strange. All right. Well, it pains me to do this, but we're probably gonna have to end the stream here. This was fun. This was cool. This might be my last stream for a while. I might stream tomorrow. If I stream tomorrow, that'll be great. But school starts Sunday. It doesn't start Sunday, but I move in Sunday, and then Monday I have our AFOQT, and then Tuesday classes start. So, yeah. This is probably gonna be my last stream, or my second to last stream. It will definitely be my second to last stream, best case. So, I'll keep working on this. It'll keep being fun. We're really close to getting this ready to be posted, and when it's hosted, there will be a post, and there'll be a stream of some kind. Like, I will alert people that I've posted this. So, tune into the channel. Yeah. Well, this was awesome. This was super fun.